Quick sticks, penny while the black pen. So I think when I checked yesterday, the rand to dollar was 19 rand 18 cents to the American dollar, to the US dollar. The ZAR to the dollar, 19 rand 18 cents. I'm not sure where it is now, but we're on our way to 20 rand to the dollar. And a lot of conversation has been had about our currency, about how it's gotten weaker. And I have to say this because it's important. I studied economics and I majored in economics at Rhodes University in Makanda, in Grahamstown, Gini. So I'd like to think from a fundamentals perspective, from a technical perspective, I understand how the economy works. I understand how currencies work. Not only do I have that qualification, which to me is not as important as the fact that I've put in a lot of work studying the economy on my own informally, reading articles, following the news, understanding the fundamentals of business and the micro and macro global economy. Back during Zuma's supposed 9 wasted years, Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa, was blamed a lot for the currency in South Africa when I think it was Des van Rooyen, when he placed him as Minister of Finance, the rand got weaker and then he removed him and the rand recovered. We've had situations where Pravin Gordhan being made finance minister, some of the policies he's taken, etc., have affected the rand. Now it's Cyril Ramaphosa that's come in. Well, before we get to Cyril, we had ratings agencies, Moody's, Fitch, Standard and Poor, Fitch, all these rating agencies. The rating agencies are like a credit bureau. So instead of giving you a credit rating as an individual, they give you like country, something like a credit rating so that other countries can decide, can we loan this country money? Will they pay us back? Can we invest in this country? Will it give us a good return? We were doing badly at that time. Come in Cyril Ramaphosa as president of South Africa, and we have the worst load shedding with Andre de Ruyter as the CEO of Eskom. A lot of people, including the media, don't blame Andre de Ruyter for that horrible load shedding period which they've done to people in the past. They do not blame Cyril Ramaphosa for the horrible load shedding. The roads have gotten worse. Eskom has collapsed. The post office has collapsed. And so many other state-owned enterprise, Transnet has collapsed. He himself as a president was found with dollars, foreign currency which he shouldn't have had, and all this other stuff. And the ratings agencies have kept quiet. And on top of that, no one internationally is screaming and saying, oh, the Cyril Ramaphosa is a horrible president. Everything is cool. And here we are with the currency now. And again, mainstream media is not saying it is Cyril Ramaphosa, which they did under Jacob Zuma. Wild. So I want to say this. All the stuff we've been taught about economics and all that stuff, it is not really important. Yes, we are given a criteria. This is what it will take for your economy to be good, for other currencies to see that you're great, for other countries to lend you money, etc. But the reality is there's a handful of banks that actually decide the value of currencies. When I used to trade foreign exchange, forex trading, I realized that about 10 banks, 10 global banks have an influence and control over 70% of the forex market. They influence. What's scarier around the same time is that it came out that our big banks, Absa, Standard Bank, and a couple of others, they were involved in rigging the value of the rand. You're like, how? How does a bank rig? I mean, it's got to do it global. The reality is they can. So, was Jacob Zuma responsible for the weak currency at the time? Yes. Yes. Cyril Ramaphosa is not responsible for the weak currency now. Yes, he's not. What the fuck? That's bullshit. Nah, it actually should tell you something. It should tell you that there are a few people, global currency influencers, who get to dictate what your currency is. And on top of that, they get to dictate the reasons why. The world could decide to make a US dollar worth 30 rand, and they could cite load shedding. They could cite political instability. They could cite so much immigration, immigration that's happening, people that are leaving the country. They could cite the complaints about what's happening, our porous borders that are non-existent, our president that is found with money, our president that has worked with a Glencore, which has been paying bribes globally, and all the other scandals. But they decided, nah, we're not going to say that's the reason. Those same people get to decide that it's Jacob Zuma that's the problem. And you might find that it's not Zuma, it's some of the policies. They're not happy with transformation. They're not happy that Jacob Zuma wants to give parts of the economy to certain people. They're not happy that these policies don't favor them. Cyril Ramaphosa today has signed deals with the rest of the world to send our coal to them and for us to go alternative and to take their money at interest. So they're like, oh, that's our boy. He gets to sit with King Charles. He gets to sit with Joe Biden. And they're like, we like him. He's a great puppet for our agenda. Jacob Zuma was not a great puppet for our agenda. So whenever he moves in a direction we don't like, we will punish him and his country. And we will get the country and the media to say, that's the guy. But is it serving the masses of South Africa? And the answer is no. So this is not to say Jacob Zuma is better than Cyril. Nah. This is me trying to explain that just like the luxury goods and art market, there are a few influences that get to dictate the price of things. And it is not economic fundamentals. It is not political stability or instability. It is people who say, this serves me, therefore I will let things keep going. This does not serve me, and therefore I will intervene. That's kind of how it works. People can argue with me, whatever. Yes, look, if there are things happening in our economy, yes, those people will come and report, and your Financial Mail and The Economist and Business Day and all of these guys will come and say our economy is not doing well, look at what's happening with interest rates. Sure, those things have a factor. But the reality is that these major banks, some of the local banks, the biggest global economic players, they get to dictate your currency value for you. They decided with Robert Mugabe, decided to take land from white farmers. They decided to punish Zimbabwe by devaluing the Zimbabwean dollar. They said it was hyperinflation because it was printing money. The reality is that the Zimbabwean economy is incredibly wealthy with many natural resources. But because they were not happy with his conduct, they punished him. It's one of the reasons why a Russia and a China and an India wants to strengthen BRICS and wants to de-dollarize because they're tired of having America and the Federal Reserve. They're tired of the United Kingdom, of France, Germany, Switzerland, and the guys in the G7, the West as it were, dictating to them the value of their things when they already know the value of their things. Today, someone gets to decide to you the value of a cow. No, a cow is 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Why do those people get to dictate the value of a cow for you? If you feel a cow is worth a Mercedes-Benz, you get to own that. And that's why I've always said the whole concept of money, it's not a value concept, it's a concept of mind control. If you can dictate that this watch is worth 500 million rand, and if I can convince the biggest influencers in the world that's how much it's worth, that's why Yeezys can be expensive. And that's why other shoe brands are cheap. It depends on how well you are at telling your story. Not only did I study economics, I studied art, visual art. So I understand the psychology of selling luxury goods. It's how well can you bullshit? How well can you tell a narrative? And how well are you at convincing the biggest influencers, politicians, mainstream media, wealthy people of your story so that it can filter down and they can influence the middle class, the poor, etc. That is how currencies are valued. And if you disagree with me, I look forward to reading some of your thoughts and disagreements on that. Pen you all the black pen. Cheers.